We literally install thousands of permanent lights a year, and we also install a marathon's worth of Christmas lights a year. And the number one question that homeowners ask us is, should I invest in permanent lights or should I keep going with the traditional Christmas lights? Well, here I am gonna give you the honest breakdown of the cost, the maintenance, and why one of these might actually be a terrible fit for your home. So let's get right into it.
Hey Clark, what's the difference between permanent lighting and Christmas lights?
So let's get right into Christmas lights. The question is, should I invest in permanent lights or should I keep going with the traditional Christmas lights? And let me show you the difference here, okay? So here with Christmas lights, we have our gutter, okay? I know that you can do, depending on your roof line and structure of your home, you can install your Christmas lights on gutters. You can also install it on your tile roof or your asphalt roof or your fascia, something like that. But generally speaking, you are going to install Christmas lights on your gutter with clips. And I'll show you how that works really quickly, okay? So here you have your C9 bulb. These will screw in your socket wire right here. These socket wires come in different lengths. The professionals use basically anywhere from 12 inches to 15 inches. This is 15 inches, okay? So what you do is you get your socket wire, you put your clip on, and then you'll go ahead and screw in your Christmas light bulb. This is a C9 warm white bulb, just like that, okay? And then you would basically put these on your gutter like this. Pretty straightforward. This is how your Christmas lights will look. Pointing out, typically. They can also point up, they can also point down, but the idea is like seeing this actual C9 Christmas light bulb. That's how it looks, a very traditional look. That's how most homes will be. So as you can see, wires are exposed. You won't really see them because we tuck those nice and taut, just like that. You don't see them, but the whole idea with Christmas lights is it for the lights to scream Christmas lights. This is not a permanent install, right? So what we're gonna do is put these clips and bulbs on the roof line, and anytime you run from a transition up to a different transition because there's a gap between a roof line to another roof line, then you would make your extension cords that go from roof line to roof line. So I'm not gonna show you that in this video, but we'll edit pictures into this so you can see what I'm talking about. But basically is, where do you wanna see lights is your actual roof line to another roof line. Anything in between, you don't wanna see lights because that doesn't look good, it doesn't look professional. And so you would run a custom make extension cord to connect these two, and you obviously hide those appropriately. So that is Christmas lights, okay? The cost of these is gonna vary by contractor and by city, by state, so on and so forth. But let's just keep it very, very, very elementary and simple, okay? So Christmas lights is gonna average, let's just say $1,200 for an average Christmas light install. That includes the design, that includes the actual install and providing everything. That includes the maintenance. So one of these bulbs gets unscrewed a little bit and it doesn't work or something like that, or maybe it comes off or something like that, okay? Maintenance is included in this price. And then obviously coming back down in January to remove these. And then we also gotta store these as well. I'm speaking from a professional company. That's how most professional companies will do it. It's an all-inclusive, start all the way to finish, including the storage service, okay? So if you're watching this and you're a consumer of Christmas lights and you have a provider for you or you're looking into a provider, this is how most of them will operate. There is another model of Christmas lights. Essentially, a contractor may sell you these directly. They may be, let's say, $1,200, for example. What they would do is sell these, and let's say it's $300 worth of product that's going in your house. Next year will be $900, and then it'll be $900 there and therefore. So there's two models. The benefit to that model, which is you're selling to the customer, is that the customer gets a lower price the following years, but that's really the only benefit is selling those as a consumer, is that you get a cheaper price the following year. The other side of that, the con to that, is that the customer will have to store these materials themselves because the contractor is not owning the materials. And so that is a pain point for a lot of customers. They don't want to to deal with this and store it and so on and so forth. Anyways, consult your local contractor on how it works with them. I've done both models. We do the all-inclusive lease rental model. So essentially it's $1,200 this year. It'll be $1,200 next year. In theory, we offer discounts and referrals and everything like that to if you want to lower the cost or whatever, or you can do a multi-year agreement. If it's a multi-year agreement, then it would be $1,200 this year, and then let's say we're willing to give you a discount because we're agreeing to the next 3 years, for example. Next year, year 2 and year 3 would be $1,000, because we don't have to think about rescheduling and reach out to you. It's just like we know that we're coming back here for the next 3 years, and we're willing to give a discount for that because we can plan on that. And so every situation is going to be different with each customer, because some customers, they just bought a house and they're going to live in this house for the next 10, 20 years or whatever, and they want to invest in a company that's going to be there for them for the long term, right? And so they can just rent the lights for the first year and then do a multi-year agreement thereon and therefore, right? Or the other side of that is that the customer is planning to move. They just want Christmas lights on their house this year, and they don't want to think about the future or anything like that. Well, this model also works for that because, well, it's just going to be $1,200 and everything's going to be absolutely perfect and stunning. Perfect, right? So either way, the all-inclusive rental model is an absolute perfect way for any customer because the service involved in that, which is basically we're going to provide everything for you from install, maintenance, removal, storage. You don't have to think about that ever again. We're going to provide that for you. They're always updating these products sometimes, and so just know that as a contractor in the homeowner relationship, the homeowner doesn't see the back end operations of this when it's a rental model. So whenever these bulbs break or go bad, or the socket wire goes bad, or the timer goes bad, or the extension cord, anything to do with the actual materials themselves that the contractor supplies on the rental model, we cover that. Okay, that's why that cost doesn't go where like the buyer model, like if you're selling it, because we have to cover these materials cost over time. Okay, so, and we don't have to have that friction in that conversation with the customer. They're just paying for, I want this house to look beautiful with the same design every single year, take care of it for me, right? And we love that as a contractor because we get to not have those conversations about, hey, like 10 bulbs went bad and our timer went bad and some of the socket wire will be bad. We need $150 of added cost to pay for those materials. That's what happens when you sell these lights, okay? When you sell these lights, the cost gets passed on to the homeowner, and that's what happens. There's no right or wrong. That's just, given your situation, you gotta make the best decision for yourself as a consumer. The best experience really is, because I've done both models, is you rent the lights and you do a multi-year agreement with the contractor that you like, and you let them do their job, okay? So that's Christmas lights. Average ticket, around $1,200 for easy math. And it'll be like that every year for the next 3 years, given inflation, okay? So there you go. We also offer wreaths. We also offer wraps of trees, so on and so forth, but most people just love traditional Christmas lights on their roof line, so that's what I'm showing you here in this video, like that, okay? So that is Christmas lights. Let's move on to permanent lights. So we install Minleon permanent lighting. When you get into the permanent lighting research, if you're curious about that as a consumer, you're gonna find a lot of different brands out there, okay? Most homeowners, they're gonna see the permanent lighting materials at their local Costco. They're gonna see it at their Sam's Club. They're gonna even see it at Home Depot, Ace Hardware. They will also look on Amazon, okay? So when you find products like that and they're in the big box stores like that, just know that it's all DIY consumer grade products. They're not superior to the commercial grade professional products, which I'm gonna show you right here soon. And so this is all to say there's not right or wrong in the permanent lighting brand that you pick. It's all about the situation. So I will start from kind of the level of the consumer, where they're going in and they see the Govies, they see the Inceptions, they see the DIY consumer grade products, because that's what most people see at an entry level. okay? The situation that you would want that in, if you want to go that route, totally cool. You can basically buy that for $300 or so, given the amount of roof line that you have. But let's just say it's $300 for the actual materials, right? Actual materials, Govee or whatever. You can install it yourself and you don't have to pay any labor costs or any warranty like that, because you're literally just buying the product, you're installing it yourself. Okay, know that permanent lighting is not easy in the fact that there's rules, or sorry, I should say that it's not easy when you do it right, okay? You can definitely stick on Govees and you can do it within a day's period for most houses, but just know that you're gonna have wires exposed everywhere. It may fall apart here in shorter than when you want it to. When you install a Govee, when you install an Inception, if you install a consumer grade DIY product, it is not permanent. It's not permanent. It's actually temporary, because lights will fail quickly and wires will be corroded and they start to fall apart because of the quality of not only the product themselves, which is why you're buying it so cheap, but also whoever's installing it, right? So there's two components to that: cheap materials and a person that's installing it isn't installing it to specs, okay? So you can do that, or the next level up, if you don't want to install it yourself, the DIY product, well, you can hire a professional to do that. It can be a handyman, it can be your local lighting contractor, whoever. And if you're trying to and so what this would be, I look at it as like this. If you want a DIY consumer grade product, it's gonna last you, I wouldn't plan for more than 3 years, okay? So you're gonna have a good 3-year span of the lights probably working okay, and nothing really maybe falling apart, hopefully. You're gonna get about 3 years before you have issues. That's what we've seen across the board here in our market here in Sacramento, and I've seen and heard and witnessed other stories about the same. So about a 3-year time horizon when you buy the big box stuff before you have some issues, okay? So that's a situation if you're trying to be really price conscious and maybe you don't really care that much, you just want lights on your house for a few years and you may move in a few years and I don't care. Like, that's a situation for you that actually is probably the right call if you want it to be that way, okay? So the next level up is the professional grade, consumer grade product, okay? When you start doing your research and you kind of get into it, a lot what happens is that you get confused about which product is the right one for myself, for your home, okay? So let's say there's 10 professional commercial grade products out there that are really good. There actually is, okay? And so do your research, and that's why it's important to be able to consult multiple contractors to see which one fits your needs the best. And so I'm gonna show you what we install, and that is called Minleon permanent lighting. We use them because they have the longest track record in the permanent lighting industry. They have one of the highest quality bulbs and materials that you can buy, and we cover the warranty on that personally on our company. And so I always say this as a contractor who's been doing this for 12 years now: you can have a really high quality system and a bad installer, and now you got a bad system, okay? Now, hypothetically, on scenario 2, if you have a really good system and a really good installer, now you have a really good system, okay? So the idea is basically, if you have a really good system, but you get a poor quality of service, well, now you just spent money that you didn't need to actually spend because the installer didn't know what they're doing, or they haven't had enough training to do it properly. And so just know we have seen that across the board. Even with professional products, they're not installed properly. They're not installed the way that they should be given the scenario of the home. And now you got a problem or multiple problems. And that can be more expensive in the long run, because then you're gonna have to call a company like mine and fix their problems, or just replace the whole thing because you're so unsatisfied with that one. So it is important to do your due diligence and get a local lighting contractor who knows what they're doing, and obviously you're gonna have to make that call by looking at their Google reviews and pictures and consulting them and what matters to you. Make sure that you ask those questions properly, okay? So let's get into the Minleon permanent lighting brand, okay? There's 3 components when it comes to the actual install on a roof line. So similarly, like the traditional Christmas lights, most installs are gonna happen at the bottom of the roof line. I say roof line because depending on where you're at in the USA, is that you're gonna either run into gutter, you're gonna run into wood fascia, you're gonna run into flashings, you're gonna run into different scenarios. So the idea, generally speaking, is that on residential homes, we are gonna mount our track system that gets color matched to your roof line, and we're gonna mount this to the bottom of your roof line. This is a gutter, I know, but the idea is that you can start to seeing the sleekness, and this basically starts to disappear in your roof line, essentially, okay? So that's the difference. Big Christmas traditional style bowls for Christmas, and then permanent lights, the ones that we use, Minleon, is we put everything in a track system like this, and that gets mounted to the bottom of the roof line. These typically will point down, and that way you can see the bulbs at night, and then you get the colors against the wall. So let me show you how this works. So you got the track here, and then you got your pebbles, and I want to show you why permanent lighting can seem and be expensive is the quality of this pebble right here. You're gonna get pebbles, you're gonna get pucks, you're gonna get different light terminology on describing permanent lighting products. Again, I'm gonna talk specifically about Minleon, and then this is a pebble light, okay? All of the money, essentially, and the quality of your product is inside the technology of these pebbles, okay? They've done decades of research and testing on these, and these can be very expensive. You can get basically better pricing by buying in bulk or being a distributor, or if you're doing, small volume, they're gonna be more expensive, so on and so forth. But the idea is that the quality of your technology and your lights is where all the magic happens, okay? So just get a closer view. You can see that there's a diode here and a diode here. There's 2 diodes on these pebbles. The pucks would have 3, and it's more of a circular object here, okay? So what we do is install our track at the bottom of the gutter, and then we are gonna clip these in right here, these pebble lights. Maybe you can hear it, let's see. Okay, these are spaced 12 inches apart, these pebbles here, so you can hear that click, okay? Again, pretend that we are mounting the lights to the bottom of the roof line, so these are gonna point down like that. Okay, 12 inches apart. Oh, you're like, okay, well, are there any wires gonna be shown with my system? No, so here's what we got. We got covers to cover our wires, okay? So see your bulb here, see your bulb here, see your wire in between here? We're gonna cover that with this cover. Okay, this is a 3-foot track. That's what they come in, and I'll finish it here. Okay. Okay, so there's your track, okay? I'm using white, for example. We have a ton of different color matching tracks. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna give you white, okay? So 12 inches apart. We also make them in 6, by the way, or we sell them in 6. So 12 inches apart, no wires shown. And let me bring my gutter right here. These would essentially, you can kind of pretend that the gutter or the roof line is gonna extend. This is gonna get mounted to the bottom, pointing down, and essentially, I think it's really important to highlight the fact that whatever you install permanent wise, how does this system look during the day? Because this permanent lighting system is actually permanent when it's a professional commercial grade product, because it's gonna last up to essentially 17 years. This is rated for 50,000 hours. So if you run this system 365 nights a year, 8 hours a day, the math ends up being 50,000 hours, 17 years with this system. That's what it's rated for, okay? So you really want the system to not be an eyesore, and you want it to look really professional, sleek, and nice. And that's why we color match the track system to your roof line. And essentially, when you are standing on the ground, on your sidewalk, You don't know it's there, it blends in perfectly. If you're really looking at it like in a microscope or something like that, yes, you can see it. You would basically just notice the bulbs right there. But honestly, they look pretty good, right? Compared to these on your house all day. Like these, it becomes part of your house architecture at that point. It looks awesome. And so that is the difference, okay? There's different ways to mount this. You can put it on the inside. You don't have to see this at all if you want it to. But traditionally, these will get mounted to the bottom of the roof line pointing down, because if there's a wall right here, we want to see colors against the wall. I'll show you some examples here. We got our handy dandy lookbook right here. And this, I'm going to show you residential homes, okay? So everything for the Minleon brand is you get an app, okay? So here's the app setup, generally speaking. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. You get a nice color wheel and you get all the effects and you get to pick the different colors. You even get to schedule everything out for the entire year. So think about it this way. I have it on my own house. It's July when I'm recording this. I have my lights have security lighting every single night until I have a holiday. And I know that I want my Halloween lights to come on from October 1st all the way through November 1st. And I've already preset that, and it's going to come on October 1st at, I think at 7 p.m. I've already scheduled it. I know it's gonna come on that night. It's done. I don't have to think about it, and boom. And then Christmas will be like December 1st through, New Year's essentially. I've already scheduled it, and you can do that right here just with a tap of the phone. Super easy, it's super cool. And then here's all your track colors right here. White, sand, which is like a brownish color. We get light brown, we get dark brown, black, and gray, okay? There's more colors coming out. Okay, so here's the transformation. Pretend this is your house with no lights, and then we go right over to here with beautiful Minleon permanent lights. Right here, you can see the security light setting. It's super cool. You can always change that, and you get the idea. Okay, they're coming out with a controller soon. A lot of people ask us, what do you use to plug it in? Is there a control box or something like that? Yes, there is. Basically, to not overcomplicate it, we get a control box. We mount that typically on the side of the home at ground level next to a plug so that any of our workers can service the control box. Basically, if you ever have landscape lighting, they have a control box like that. Essentially, it's like a small panel, as you can see here. It's just a small, 1 foot by 1.5 foot box. Looks really nice, and we mount that on the side of the home. We can also mount it in the soffit so it's not seen at all, okay? So here's kind of what it looks like during the day if you would like to see that on the wood fascia. It's all custom cut like that during the day. Yes, there are lights on this house, and that's how sleek it is. Here's an inward mount that I was talking about, and the fact that you can mount it in different ways. You can have them inward mount like this, which is basically you don't see any of the bulbs or any of the track, you just get colors against the wall. So you can't see the actual pebble lights themselves, but you get the colors against the house. Some people like that, which is why the versatility of Minleon is awesome. Okay, there's another option called outward facing. And the idea with that is that you don't get colors against the wall, but you get to see the lights from a lot further. Typically, these are used for commercial buildings, as you can see here. Churches, shopping malls, villages, any commercial B2B building, we typically point them out because we want to be able to see them from miles away. And we don't want to do an outward mount on a residential home because HOA compliance and stuff like that. It's like more in your face essentially, but you don't get colors against the wall. Residentially, downward facing, as you can see the combination of the bulbs and then the wall washes against the house. Just 2 examples right there. That's the most desired effect for most permanent lighting, whether it be Minleon or anybody else. Again, we have 12-inch spacing and we have 6-inch spacing with our Minleon brand. Again, this is 12-inch. Obviously, this would be cut in half, 6-inch if you want to do that. 6-inch is a little bit more expensive because, again, the product cost of these is more because you're you're doubling the light count. It does look amazing though. Here's a security lighting effect. You don't have to have every bulb lit. You can have them spaced every 6 bulbs, 10 bulbs, 15 bulbs, whatever you want. You can customize that. And that's the fun with the app. So there you go. One more example right here. There you go. So that's residential. I'll just go through the commercial way of it as well, just so you can see it. The versatility of Minleon is unmatched in the fact that it looks really, really good on residential, but it almost looks even better the way that it is on commercial buildings. They actually started with commercial, and now we're doing residential. So commercial buildings, you can see Chick-fil-A's. Look at it, there's not a downward mount. These are all pointed out, but you can see that these will be a lot, you can see these from a lot further away. We've done very large hotels like this, and this really separates a very dark area, and then you light this thing up and you just stand out because it's so lit, right? You can do warm white, you can do big shopping malls. And so the idea though is you can just be on an app on the phone, everything's controlled from an app, and you just tap the colors. Literally, this is the same building, and that's like a cool white color, and you just tap the button and now it's this color. Literally just tap your phone, it's so cool. Here is a dealership, their brand colors. Really cool for brand colors, not only for, like, permanent lighting is not just for holidays, it's for your brand colors, okay? We did a Ford dealership. We got the blues types of colors. Let's say we do a Chick-fil-A, I think they're red and, red, I guess. So you can make it red. Really, really cool. Okay, that brings me to my next point. A Subway, right? You can do the Subway colors. It's so cool. You can make these move and dance, whatever you want to do with them. Okay? The Minleon brand is really, really cool because, well, you don't always have to do the roof line. We do offer bistro lighting for backyards, cafes, and that's all tied into one system as well. You can match that all up and have the colors change if you want it to. So that was a lot in comparison when it comes to Christmas lights right here and your permanent track lighting system here. So whether you choose permanent lighting or you choose traditional Christmas lights, the most important thing is that the system is built for your home and not by a poor installer, because you don't want to go cheap. Cheap gets cheap results. So save this video for next time you're looking into the differences between permanent lighting and Christmas lights and whether you're deciding to figure out what you want to do next. Everybody has heard of permanent lighting, and if you haven't, you will soon. So save this video and start planning your exterior lighting today and share it with a neighbor who is looking at their options. To end this video really, really quickly, again, I'm gonna go back to the example on pricing because everybody wants to know about that. $1,200 average ticket for Christmas lighting for simple math. Minleon permanent lighting, which is what we install, it's anywhere from 3 to 4 times more than Christmas lighting. So this system would be anywhere from $3,600 to $4,800. There's a variation of that pricing because if you install the system in our off season, which is anywhere from February through September, you're gonna get a better rate because of the demand. Okay, and then if you wait to install the permanent lighting from October, November, and December, when everybody's installing Christmas lights, the price goes higher because of supply and demand, okay? So that's the variation of range, which is why it's a 3 or 4 times higher on the pricing, okay? We offer financing. We have a consumer credit center, and if $4,000 or $5,000, whatever the amount is on your home specifically, I think it's really beneficial to offer our customers a consumer credit center and making them monthly payments. You can get it as low as $150 a month. Soft credit pull, you can do that. And so if you want permanent lights, Minleon permanent lights specifically, we're here in Sacramento. My name's Clark with Santa's Lights, and share this with your neighbors, whoever's looking into permanent lighting and Christmas lighting and what the heck is the difference. Save this video, we'll see you on the next one.